Hi, today we're starting to go over the By Excel. So I've gone to the Ferris Connect Blackboard website, and I have gone to now the course content, moved down to the By Excel. I'm clicking on By Excel, and then I'm clicking on Download the Compare Template 1.xlx. We're then opening that automatically in Microsoft Excel. Now, I'm going to go over a few things here, then I will do pause and I will do some updating of the pages. Then I'll be moving on from there to have the completed assignment. First thing is that here under Ideal, we are rating the different categories on how important they are to us, and we use 100% total for the 10 categories we are going to use. So we type the point value in each of these cells. I'm then going to click on this and then delete that so it does not show up. So we would type in here whatever we think this is for importance. So the first one might be 22. The next one could be 18. The next one maybe 15. Going down to 10, 11. Then maybe 8, and 7, and 6, and 5, and 4. Now, price needs to always be the last one because of the way I've put the formulas in here. So that could be higher and be out of order. Now, does this total 100%? Well, we need to go here in value, and what we need to do is add the function sum. So you can look that up. It may be up there automatically, or you would go to statistical, move down to sum. Sorry, go to arithmetic. Or you can do all. Do that. It's the easiest. Move all the way down then to sum. And there it is. You double click on it, and it automatically puts in B3 through B12. You just click OK. Regretfully, what I didn't do is I didn't delete what was already in there. So you need to delete that and then have it look like equal sign sum, left parentheses, B3 colon B12 right parentheses, and hit enter. Total's 107%, so these don't click out. So I need to change these somehow. So let's change this to 13%. It's 105. Let's make this 20%. 103. Let's make this 15. Now I total my 100%. Over here I put my category name. So I could put in something like functions. Ease of use. Whatever you consider the 10 most important things, including price. Over here we put the reasons why. For example, here we might say the business hires a lot of students, so we have a high turnover and turn. Let's try. Misspelled a couple of words there. You may correct them now, or make sure you run the spell checker when you're done. High turnover. The students will only work for a short period of time. They graduate, they move on. Okay, So this does not have to be corrected now. If you want to correct it now, you could highlight this. You can go to review. You can go to spell checker, and it will tell you if there's any words misspelled. Okay, so this is the basic here. I'm going to try and highlight a couple of other things here, and then I will do a pause and I will do some updating. This now needs to be deleted. In here, when you're done, you're going to write a paragraph about why you would buy that computer if you were the business, why that business should buy the software product that we picked. Okay, then here you must put the maximum price this business would pay for this software. You cannot evaluate a piece of software higher than this price. Let's put in $5,000. Here you put the minimum you would pay. You cannot evaluate a piece of software lower than this price. Once you have this all in, you will finish it for each category, and I'll go over this in a minute. Up here at the top, we want you to type in your name. I'm not that concerned that you do the changing the characters to red, etc. Whatever looks good, it's not important to me. Now, you also need to make sure you know how to spell at least your name. Okay, now you also need to, down here on the tab, right-click it, rename it, and type in your name. You need to do the same thing for the other product names. I will do that and show it in a minute. Now, over here on Product 1, when I click on that tab, you'll notice that Function Ease of Use came over from the front page. I had typed it in here, but it automatically appears over here. So will these other ones if you've typed them all in. Now, this price, all of a sudden it has an amount in there. Where did that come from? 125%. Why? Well, that's because we have not inserted the product cost in here yet. So we need to delete this and insert the product cost in here. And when I do that, let's say $1,100, that is close to the minimum price, so we should get a very high rating. And we do, 98%. If I'd entered something in like $4,900, we get a very low rating because it's cost close to our maximum. Over here, we can put something about the price. This cost a lot and is the most expensive. In here, we're talking about this product. We're telling why this product gets the rating it does. So in here, I might pick 90%. And in here, I would say this software is very intuitive and you do not have to have a class on how to use it. Now I hit a bunch of keys wrong there, so I can check the spelling again and change them to hit to and who to how. And this software is very intuitive, and so not have to. So I'm missing, so people or employees do not have to have a class on how to use it. Explains my rating. Okay, you need to do that on each of these rows. Okay, you would then do the same thing on product 2. You again would insert in here the price. It could be whatever you want. You do the research on this. You get a valid price. Delete the comments I have there. Put in the comments here. Change this. Now what I'm going to do is pause this for a moment while I update all of this information and have something that looks more like a completed form. Okay, now I'm continuing. I'm back now on the front page. I've changed this tab name to Richard, this to ABC, this to XYZ, this is the graph. Okay, back to Richard. I've put here in the categories functions, ease of use, collaboration, capability, accuracy, training time, presentation, revisions, components, price. I'm doing this again for the same one as I did for my proposal, that is this bank. I've put my ideals as 16, 15, 13, 12, so on. They total 100%. I've put in here my reasoning. Now, right away I notice, I'm not sure why, but I have borders here, but I don't have here. One of the things I can do is highlight all of this area, and then this area will then be created, or I will be able to modify it, change its looks however I want. So by highlighting the area and then right-clicking, I can get Format Cells up. When I get Format Cells, I can do a lot of things. One of the things I can do is change the border to have the border both outline and inside. When I do that, I now have borders on everything. Now you determine your format, but we can do a lot of modification here. We could also, if we wanted to, not have the borders on this column, so we could click it, right click, and again Format Cells, and this time we could remove the borders. We could try that again. We can put none and click OK. Now the borders are here but not here. Okay, so you make this so it looks good however you want to do it. One problem I have now in this one, I need to do it one more time. Format Cells, and I need to put a border here on the left. Okay, so now I've got a border going down the left side. I can also, by clicking here, make these columns wider. The other thing I have is if I click here in the corner, I get the whole spreadsheet. This I've got in the middle now. On yours, when you download it, these do not appear in the middle. They're on the top, on the bottom. So again, I right-click, Format Cells, and to get it in the middle, I clicked Alignment, and I have it left and for horizontal, and I have it centered for vertical. That will put everything left and centered. That makes it look a lot better than having the function down at the bottom, the numbers up at the top, and this in the middle. Also, if you have this get too large or too small, you can click here and move it. So now I have this lined out pretty good. But here, if I take my total, I've summed this. These should be less than 100%. So I pull it over, and they're not. They're 700, 600%. Well, what's wrong? Well, over here, we have on product ABC. We have all the functions that came over from the front page because in here I had put it equals the front page and the cell number. I then put in my rating, I put in my description. Down here I have a formula. You need to make sure you do not delete that formula. That takes this price, compares it to the front page maximum and minimum, and gives me a percentage of how cheap it is, how close to the cheapest it is. Same thing here. These percentages are the grade they get in that category. But I have to, over here, have a weighted average because the most you can get is 16%. Consequently, I need to, in this cell, multiply this ABC B3. So I use an asterisk for multiply by the maximum. When I hit enter, it then calculates that. I then pull it all the way down, and by clicking here in that bottom right corner, we can get a solid black line plus sign and pull it down. Now on this one, I need to do the same thing. I need to hit multiply over here, enter, click on it, get the plus sign, pull it down. Now you see we have 79.62. This one wins by a fairly big margin. Okay, if I look, it won a lot here. Well, if I look over here, instead of giving it 95%, if I gave it 0 and hit enter, I go back here and now I see with 0%, it wins, but by only 2%. If in training time I were to again give it a 0, enter, now it loses. Okay, so if I go back here, and let's hit undo and undo, I've got them back. The other one is by changing the price here. If I make this 1,000, this should then be 100%. No, I'm at 0. So I'm a third of the way there. My price range I put in here was $555 to $2,000. So now it automatically changes the percentage here. If I made this $555 and hit enter, now it's 100%. Over here, 5% is the maximum. It got it. Okay, if I put in here 222 and hit enter, it's 123%. You said I couldn't get anything that cheap. How did I get it? That's not valid. You're not consistent. Here you give me more than the maximum points. That's not valid. It's not consistent. You've got to make it solid. Okay? So we have that. Let's change this back. I'll do an undo again and another undo. Make it back to 69. Okay, so now we have everything complete. Here we have a description of the product, features, why they're good. Here we have a rating, all of them 0 to 100%. Here we have the names that are automatically brought over from the front page. Here we have the product cost. Here we have the ratings. Here we have the description of this product, why it got that rating. Here we have the functions. Here we have the product cost. Here we have them all combined. You would be writing your description in here. That should be an explanation of why you picked, in this case, product ABC. And you'd say how its functions are really good for supporting the bank, how many people use it daily, etc. Now, the only things we have to do is to kind of make this look better, make the presentation better. one of the things you could do is go through here, highlighting this, right-clicking, and when I go to Format Cells, I can do the fill or the background. And I could make that various colors when I click OK. And then I could highlight this one and do the Format Cells and maybe make it a this color. And then I could again highlight these, Format Cells, and what I'm trying to find here is what's another color? Let's try this purple. Okay. And we might alternate these colors if you find some good color combination. Put them in here because we're going to put this into our PowerPoint presentation and we want it to look good. Okay, and that just makes it a little nicer to look at. We might highlight the headings and make that something, whatever you think looks nice. But then we need to also do a graph. Now in here I've put an area for a graph, but I've said it must be a bar graph. You need to delete that, but you need to make sure this is a bar graph. When you click on it, you get Chart Tools. Chart Tools has a lot of things up here, one style, data, etc. Or you can right click to get the same thing. If I click here, this gives me the layout of the chart. Could do that. Well, instead I like to do the right click, and first thing I do is the chart type. Okay, now you could, if instead of doing that you clicked here on chart type, you get the same thing. I want you to use a column chart or a bar chart. Any of these will work. I find this one does not look good in this case. I would go with one of these up here. Okay, so I'm going to just pick this one first. And I click OK. Nothing happened. Now I need to select the data. When I select the data, I need to find it. The key thing is you can go on any of these charts and get the data. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to highlight the names and all of the percentages, but not the total. You will notice then it shows the names of the items here and the names of the functions or the things we're comparing here. I click OK, and now it shows us comparing Dell versus Sony. That was because I clicked over here on Chart Styles, so let's get rid of that Dell versus Sony. Okay, so it had picked my color. It shows the maximum percentages. It shows the functions. It has the colors. If I want to switch, I can switch colors. I can go through whatever colors I would like. I can change the backgrounds. I can make them dramatic. I can go back to some basics. You get to pick whichever ones you would like here, whatever you think shows up the best. Okay, so I go through and I want it more dramatic. So to me, this shows up a lot better because I can see the ideals, can see how well the red one is comparing to the ideal, and how the green one isn't doing quite as well. Much more dramatic than just the numbers. When I've got this completed, then I have my graph completed. I have this completed again with all my ratings here, my descriptions here, my functions here from the front page, my product cost here. I have here the same thing, functions from the front page, ratings, my reasons for the ratings, the price. Here I have the things that I was comparing, the categories all listed. I have here the ideal percentages listed. Here I have a formula that multiplies the ideal percentage by the product's percentage. Here I have a description of why I need that in my business. Down here I have the prices. Here I have the totals. Here I have the explanation of why I would buy this particular product. This must have the one with the most points is the one you buy. Otherwise, you have no credibility whatsoever. Okay, that should complete this. I will make a couple of other minor modifications to this, and then I will also upload this to the web along with the video. Thank you.